Thank you. I'm so glad this time has finally come because I sweat so much just waiting to be called that I'm so gross. I'm so sorry. Judges in the front row, I'm sorry. So I'll just get right into it. A couple weeks ago, maybe it was months, I was at Barnes & Noble with my adorable boyfriend, and while he was looking at the guitar books, because that's something cute boyfriends do, they learn how to play the guitar, I attempted to fondle the curls of the shop girl. Yes. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about why I'm a creeper in that way. And it's a little complicated, so I'll just outline it for you. It involves the Sci-Fi Channel, my parents, which encapsulates the best of times and worst of times aspect of this story, and also my hair. I'm the lady sitting right over there. That one, right? Yeah, Danielle. My parents, best of times, worst of times. Have you ever met the people that when they're in love, the stars and the planets align and everyone else just goes around them because they're that magnetic and fabulous? But when they're falling out of love, those same planets begin to shake and quiver and all hell breaks loose. Like the Hellmouth in Buffy opens up and every creature flings itself out at Buffy. That's exactly my folks. So they are the best of times and the worst of times. And when I was growing up, before my folks split, we had a ritual in our house on Sunday nights. My dad would get home from his regular fishing trip, and he would lay on the couch, and he would turn on the Sci-Fi Channel, while my mom and I would sit on the living room carpet, and she would straighten my hair. My mother straightened my hair for 12 years with a variety of chemicals, weapons of minor warfare, including a straightener, large rolling evil disc things look like pop cans, sometimes even pop cans, large rolling irons, small rolling irons. You wouldn't think that a curling iron could straighten hair, but it does. It's kind of how it works. It's the magic of heat and chemical reactions. And shopping in the aisle of Sally's, reserved for ladies with quite a bit more pigment than me. And she did this every Sunday night while we were watching the Sci-Fi Channel with my dad. And given where they were at in their best of times, worst of times relationship, sometimes it would be more painful on the scalp than at other times. I'm very hard-headed now, folks. But as a result, I have all of these really great memories of movies like Mothra and Godzilla versus Mothra and Barbie versus Mothra. That didn't really happen, but I made it up in my mind. Also, one of my all-time favorite films, which is The Clash of the Titans. Not the new one that came out, no. The one with the stop animation clay things that, someone painstakingly and lovingly in 1987 bent to their will, and just lit up my childhood, really. Perseus, however you want to say his name, he was beautiful. Andromeda, her crazy mother, I related to her. And it was a beautiful movie. And both of my folks liked it, which was an occasion for them to enjoy that. And so when I think of the smell of chemicals and clay and all of us getting long, and it's also magical. And there was a character in the movie, Medusa. You may know her as the serpent-haired bitch from the island of buildings that are magically already fallen over, even though it's already Greek times, or still Greek times. Like, why is that shit down already? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's the world of cinema. And she was cray-cray. Basically, she had the body of a snake, amazingly high breasts, although she was braless, so she had a little work done. And hair of snakes, horrible teeth, and these crazy eyes that were like wolf eyes, kind of, or like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video eyes, and they just kind of lit up. And she had one purpose in life, which was to look at men and kill them on the spot. She was looking at them. She was so evil and pissed, and she slithered, and she rattled, and she hated Andromeda because she was pretty and better than her because she was pretty, and I was 12, and that made sense to me as an organization of the world and the fates. And I always thought, wow, Medusa, that sucks. Her mom didn't straighten her hair. Because if she had, she would have cut off those snakes and given her a wig, and she could have gotten on the cheerleading team and been happy. But no, she's pissed. And that's the love that my mom gave to me. Straight hair. But as you can see, that's not what's going on these days. No, I'm going the curly girl route because Danielle Balone convinced me to give up shampoo and no longer iron my hair. And the amount of spare time that I have is just crazy. Like, I hang out with my cats. I've been reading a lot more. Dr. Sobel. Sometimes things pertain to my thesis. And it's been really, really great. But the whole Medusa thing has started to bother me more and more because it's like, why is she so evil? Is it the snakes? And why does she even have those snakes? Was she born with snakes? I don't think so, because this is before C-sections, and how would she have made it out of the womb with all those things coming out of her head? Like, it makes no sense, right? So I've been thinking about it. And I did a little research. Evidently, thank you, Wikipedia, Medusa, no, she did not come out of the womb magically with those snakes. No. Medusa was lovely and kind and trusting. And that's where she fucked up. So she was hanging out at whatever temple. I don't know, Wikipedia disagrees with herself all the time. So it was a temple. And guarding it for this goddess, which I like to say, it sounds kind of English and cooler. So she's guarding it for a goddess. When this goddess's a lover, out of nowhere, sees beautiful, sweet Medusa and has his way with her, as Wikipedia said, but I prefer the word rape. And as a result, this goddess gal, turned on her and made her into the monster, which I guess she didn't have to do with the guy because he already was. And that's shit. And I wonder why it is that when she became a monster, she had curly hair. Curling snakes, my friends. Yes, curly hair. All sorts of gals have the curly hair in our big books. The Bible book, it's a big one, weighs a lot. I've picked it up, I've not opened it, but yeah, I read about it in Wikipedia. And I think maybe it's okay to let your hair get a little cray-cray, like Medusa, because I saw crazy hair once on the woman who had ironed mine for 12 years. It's when I stopped straightening it full-time. And on that particular day, my mother, who had very sweetly and somewhat naively loved my dad for years, loved him through his military service, which she refers to as the best part of their marriage when he was under the water. She sort of conveniently didn't notice a lot of the things that he enjoyed doing extracurricularly, which weren't her. Yeah. And she just sort of let it all go by. And my sister and I did notice this. And the going by wasn't too admirable. And then one day, she found out about a recent indiscretion. And she disappeared. She got really, really angry. She disappeared to the bathroom for like 2 hours. And she took the noisiest shower our house had ever witnessed. It was loud, things were clanging around in there, bottles were flying, she was throwing stuff. She didn't believe in shower curtains because she says they look trashy, so things were hitting the glass, shower door, and she was raging and making these like psychotic noises. I was like, what the fuck, Mom, what is going on? And then at the end of those 2 hours, the door was pushed open. And my mother stepped out of the bathroom with the biggest, bushiest hair I have ever seen in my life. She had corkscrews. Like, you could put your finger right up in there. I mean, they're just round and cylindrical and fabulous, and they stuck off of her head. And they were crazy. And she had this crazy look in her eyes. And I was like, Mom, shit. And she didn't say anything to me. She just looked at me, and she turned, and she went down the stairs, and she looked at my dad. I was trailing her at this point. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is going to happen? She looked at him, and with her hair quivering and shaking and rustling out from her angry, magnetic scalp. I mean, things could have flown in there, flown out. It got stuck. I mean, this thing's huge. She looked at him and she said, "Get out." And he didn't move. I think maybe it was shock or something like that. And she's like, "Get out, get out, get out, get out." And she said it and she shook and her hair shook with it. I mean, she was angry and full of it. And it was delightful to see. She had gone just perfectly, wonderfully crazy in the most appropriate way possible at that time. And say what you will about the crazy ladies with the big hair, but I think we're pretty good at speaking truth. And when I was at Barnes & Noble, here we go, it's all coming back now, friends. I was going up to the counter, and I saw this gal, and she was taller than me, so that got my attention. And she had big, curly, corkscrew hair, like my mother. And I looked at her while my boyfriend was over looking at the guitar books. And I reached out for her curls, and she didn't flinch one bit. She just had this big smile on her face. And I said, "Is this you? Is this your hair?" She said, "Yeah, it's all me. I don't use shampoo." I said, "Oh my God, it's beautiful." And she did let me touch her hair. And I don't know after that, after this total joy of seeing my mother's hair on someone, any other woman, so very happy to have that hair, I don't know that I could ever possibly chemically alter or straighten or twist or stiffen out my hair. And that's my story. Thank you.